Welcome to another exciting edition of Midnight Chillers here at the beautiful Arroyo Grande Cemetery. We'll open the doors graciously to us so we can film our whole segments here and bring you another exciting movie. Fitting that we're in a cemetery, tonight's movie is titled Grave of the Vampire. And it's about a vampire that causes a woman to be pregnant with a baby vampire that she ends up having to feed it blood to keep itself alive. Then there's a modern movie called, what was it called? Feed, I think, or something like that. They came out recently. They had a similar idea where the baby was dead but needed blood, and then this came out first. It came out in the 70s, so this is better. Stars a bunch of people you don't know doing a bunch of stuff you're really interested in learning about. It's kind of dark, kind of weird. So don't get the kids out of the room. Some adult things are happening here. So anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy Grave of the Vampire. And I'll be back soon to give you some more little blah blah blah. Auf Wiedersehen!
But Lola Blossom's gonna do a dance. And we got all the freshmen dressed up like dogs so they can crawl on their knees and bark at her.
Yeah, fine, we'll be back.
Shall I tell Lola to get started?
Yeah, tell Lola to get started.
Yeah!
I don't think I'll ever be frightened of graveyards. They're special for us.
Hey, it was almost this very spot.
Is that why you brought me here tonight?
No, that's not why I brought you here tonight.
I saw you peeking into the bedroom where Lola Blossom was getting dressed.
I wasn't peeking.
Well, what do you call it, then?
She just left the door open.
Go on, Paul.
I merely suggested to her that perhaps she should close it.
Yes, Paul. I understand.
Leslie?
Oh, Paul, it's beautiful.
Will you marry me, Leslie?
Yes, Paul. Anytime you want me to. I love you.
It was my grandmother's.
I've never seen anything so beautiful.
You know, the only thing I own is this car. It isn't even paid for yet.
We can move into my folks' summer place anytime we want to. It's boarded up since they died. We can make it livable. It's only 10 miles from here. What was that?
We're not the only two out here.
Dr. Brewster, surgery. Dr. Brewster, surgery.
Hey, Lieutenant. This place gives me the hours. I'm nervous. Is there any way I can have a drink?
Go get your drink, sir. Just give it to me one more time.
I told it to you more than 50 times.
Once more, sir.
I was asleep by the rear gate of the cemetery. I heard a thumping sound. I heard a woman scream. That woke me up. Then I tried to go halfway back to sleep, but the sun was coming on. I couldn't keep my eyes closed. So I got up and walked a bit. And then I saw a dead man. Terrible, terrible. And then another man climbing out of an open grave. Got up yelling, screaming. And I looked down in the grave, and there she was, her dressed up in the rest of her body, naked. I started running down, Lieutenant, yelling and running until the patrol car picked me up. And I had a drink since.
When you saw the man running, can you remember if the sun had completely risen?
I was so frightened when I saw that dead boy's face, I couldn't think of anything else.
Try to think now.
I don't remember the sun. I only know it was like a grayness when the night is over.
You can go now, Zach. Just check in with us every day for a while.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant. I will. And Lieutenant, I'll be down by the Bible mission, too. and no more cemetery for me.
Good thinking, Zach.
Dr. Evans, room 312. Dr. Evans, room 312.
Aren't you going to hold Zach?
Mm-hmm.
He was drunk. Maybe he blew his top and killed the kid. I wouldn't put it past him.
Zach is harmless.
And what's all this about their son having come up or not?
The kid's body was drained of blood, wasn't it?
He was badly cut up. The blood just drained out.
Then where is it? It wasn't on the ground, it wasn't in the car.
I figure he was killed somewhere else and then dumped in the graveyard.
Maybe you're right.
Now look, Lieutenant. All day long you've been dismissing every possibility I've come up with. I don't mind telling you, I don't like it. Now, we got a young man who has been murdered in some freaky way. A young girl, half out of her mind, who may or may not have been sexually assaulted, and a crypt from which someone stole an old corpse. Now, how about asking some questions around that campus?
We will, Duffy. And any place else you feel we might come up with something.
All right, then.
All right.
Dr. Havens, radiology. Dr. Havens, radiology.
Leslie Hollander was raped, Lieutenant. There are contusions and bad bruises on her back and on her legs. She's gradually coming out of the shock.
May I try to speak to her?
Well, all right, but just for a few minutes. Leslie, there are some gentlemen here from the police to see you.
Miss Hollander, I'm Lieutenant Panzer. This is Sergeant Duffy. And we'd like to talk to you about what happened last night.
It's not only what happened to you, miss. It's what could happen to others in the future. That's your duty under the law to...
I'm going to show you some pictures. Now, it's possible that the man that did this to you is in these pictures. I'm going to hold them so that you can easily glance at each one.
Dr. Miller, administration. Dr. Miller, administration.
I'll keep on flipping them. And you keep on looking at them. The faces, Miss Hollander. Faces. That's a good point.
Can't you see she needs rest?
Now, Olga, we're not going to hurt Leslie.
Come on now.
Gentlemen, you'll have to leave. Sorry.
Whose photo was it?
The very man whose corpse is missing from the crypt. Caleb Croft. Last arrest, Boston. Rape. Can't read. He escaped the same night they caught him. The chase led through the Boston subway system on foot. He accidentally fell on the third rail, and he was electrocuted. They shipped the body to California and placed it in that crypt. Almost 3 years ago.
Just suppose the boyfriend raped her. And just suppose she's trying to give us the runaround.
And just suppose the boyfriend committed suicide by running backwards into a gravestone.
Lieutenant, you got a great record on the force. You could very easily be up for chief. But just let it be known that you believe that somebody got juiced with 50,000 volts and 3 years later climbs out of his grave, commits a murder and a rape, and then runs off into the sunrise like Bela Lugosi. You'll lose your job, your pension, everything.
You've convinced me.
Like hell I have.
Just rest. Everything will be all right.
Don't try to hide from me.
You fiend!
Don't waste your breath, my dear. No one can hear you. My basement laboratory is soundproof.
Why did you bring me down? You know I'm afraid of the dark.
I need you for a painless experiment. Within the hour, I will have completely drained you of blood.
You're a maniac! ever get away with this. Mike will find me.
Don't count on it, my dear. And if he does,
Please leave me alone.
too late. You should have been more cooperative.
No, no.
Don't struggle through them. Just relax.
No, no. Please leave me. Don't touch me.
They know everything. Pills, needles, talk. And the people wither away.
The pills help me, Olga.
They help you forget you're alive.
Olga, I would like to talk to Leslie alone for a few minutes.
I've been taking care of Leslie for 24 hours a day, but now I have to leave for a few minutes.
It's all right, Olga.
My husband died from pills.
Sit down. The reports are back from the lab, Leslie. No doubt, you're pregnant.
A baby. Paul's baby.
Leslie, listen to me. I'm asking that you have an abortion.
Why?
Leslie, what's growing inside of you isn't alive. Your body is nourishing it, giving it blood and oxygen. But when it leaves your womb, it'll be dead.
There must be some mistake. There's nothing wrong with my baby. I'm healthy and Paul was healthy. You don't know everything. Olga was right.
Leslie, I've been your doctor most of your life. Now, there's no mistake. What's inside your womb isn't a human being. It's a parasite. It'll drag you down and it'll kill you. Now, we must take that parasite out of you.
My mother used to bring me here. All those old people in the waiting room. None of them ever got better.
Now, Leslie, you know better than to talk like that.
You won't touch my baby. It'll be born healthy and you won't even be there. Olga! I know what you're going to try to do, and I'm not going to let you. Olga! Olga, take me away from here. We're not going to see any more doctors.
Come on, baby.
Leslie, please.
Come on now.
Leslie! you with your bag?
We don't want help from you.
The other officers are calling it an unsolved crime. Why do you persist?
I'll find them, Miss Allen.
All the pain will soon be over, Leslie. Dr. Ford said this baby wasn't alive, but you proved him wrong. And your baby kept growing inside you. Now it wants to be born.
Oh, I can feel it coming.
All the pain and misery. Them doctors wanted to rip this baby from inside you. It's coming now, Leslie.
I've never seen a baby with such a color before.
Maybe we should call Dr. Ford.
No. He'll be all right. We'll make him well and strong.
Oh. Please, Leslie. Let me call Dr. Ford.
No doctors, Olga.
But that baby's gonna die. It won't take milk.
Won't die. Bring him to me. We'll try once more. Apples and grapes, pintos and bays, all the pretty little horses.
My mother found it difficult to tell me that I wasn't like other children. I could never share life with whole human beings. I slowly learned that the thing that raped my mother and fathered me was no living, feeling man, but a malignant force, a cancer that refused to be destroyed. It wasn't only her blood that my mother gave to keep me alive. Her youth and her own life were sucked up into the syringe that fed me. I came to hate Caleb Croft for creating me in his image and for using my mother as a spawning ground for his evil. I'm determined to destroy him. I've tracked him from country to country to the colleges and universities where he finds a fresh young blood he craves. Luck or an animal's sense of danger keeps him always one step ahead of me. But the circle is closing. Soon I'll meet my father face to face. Soon I'll have him where I want him.
Well, we're the middle ground, guys. Hope you are still awake. Hope you are still refreshed and ready for the last half of Grave of the Vampire. I love this movie so much. It's so crazy. It's part of that whole 70s exploitation era where anything could happen. See, the point was in the 70s, there were no more rules. They had the rating system, the code thing up until then, so you couldn't do certain things. Then the code was thrown out the window and you could do whatever you wanted. So you got rapes, murder, sex, blood, satanic images, whatever you wanted, you could do it. But see, back then, before the internet, that was only, and TV was still, see, TV back then was still heavily censored. So you couldn't show this kind of stuff. So the only way you could actually see the really hardcore stuff was at a grindhouse theater. So that was the only place you can go where you could really see the cool shit, was at the grindhouse. So this was part of that world to show you things you wouldn't normally see, like rapes and blood and everything, because people wanted to see that stuff. But then there was the American films were doing that. And then the interesting thing I thought was weird was in the 80s, when I was a kid, back in the 80s, we had G, PG, R, and X. And X, people these days they already think mean porn. No. Porn, X meant no adults allowed, meaning there was too much stuff. I mean, in 1972, a film called I Drink Your Blood was one of the first movies to get an X rating for extreme violence. Because back then, it was too much. So they had to censor it a lot. But in order to get the X rating, only get R-rated to get released it widely, they had to cut stuff out. So then I thought what was weird was that in the mid-80s, Steven Spielberg comes out with Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom and he gets a PG and he fights, and they create the PG-13 rating, which is like a bridge between PG and R. So there's a little hologram where it's like, this is kind of bad but not that bad. So then that's a little bit of the history of that. And let's see what else. Oh, this falls into the category of a video nasty, which is something else I'd love to talk about, was the video nasty era, which was in the early 80s in Britain. See, in Britain, at the boom of the VHS movement, a VHS tape of a movie like Superman cost about $1,000. You had to pay $1,000 for a movie. But what they could do was they did this thing called video stores, where you could rent the movie for 2 days, and then if people wanted, they could copy it onto a blank tape for free, and then would pay like $3, and then they'd have 1 million copies of it. So these movies were going all over the place. So then people weren't regulating it, so anything could be done. So movies like Grave of the Vampire, which you're watching now, and movies like I Drink Your Blood, Il Sexual SS, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Evil Dead, were now being circulated, and little kids were buying these movies from their friends. The parents would find it, freak out, say there's obscenities, how dare you show this movie to children, and then the movies became banned. That was the birth of the video nasties movement. And then certain movies were banned so long in Britain, in the UK, for a reason, that it wasn't until 2003 that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was allowed to be shown in theaters in the UK. And Finland. Finland bans everything. They ban everything. They don't, no. Finland, no. You can't do that there. You can't do that. So that's a little bit of education for you about the history of the video Nazi movement, which this film falls into that category because it's got the blood and the sexual content and everything. So that's pretty much the bit of the history on that. So I'll let you get back to the movie, and I'll be back at the end to usher you out to be the Midnight Chillers. So, auf Wiedersehen. Bye.
I'm Anita Jacoby, working on my doctor.
I'm James Eastman. Hello.
Hi. These night courses are really much more interesting. All types and ages. I hear if you're not in time to get a seat, you can't take the course. I hope my roommate gets here on time.
Sarah. Sarah.
It's getting chilly. I have a place we can go to. Ain't I good enough for you?
Those of you who don't have seats will have to leave. I'm sorry, but we just don't have the space. I know that some of you are lawyers, teachers, bored housewives with nothing better to do with their evenings. But with any luck, a few may learn something. My name is Lockwood. Professor Adrian Lockwood. It's called goober dust by the older blacks of the Deep South. Sprinkle it around your enemy's bed at night, and he will die in his sleep. Ground up peanut husks. That's all it is. Can it really kill? No. Not here with automobiles and electric lights. We could never believe such a thing. But strip away the light, the automobile, the antibiotics that keep us one step ahead of death, and we are left with pathetic, frightened little creatures wandering in a cruel and hostile world. So we fear the gods, demons, devils, bats, banshees, angels,
vampires.
Yes, as a matter of fact, vampires. It is those answers, answers born out of fear, that we are here to study. It's interesting that you should all turn out here tonight in overflow numbers. Is it that, like primitive man, you're still filled with fear? With a nameless dread that you cannot shake?
Death.
Who are you?
Anita Jacoby.
Death has been the chief dread. The one obsessive preoccupation of man since he first crawled from the cave. Of all the animals, only man is aware that as surely as he was born, he will someday die. The individual who can inflict death has the complete respect of the other man. They are in awe of him. Death is also very beautiful. Some loved ones we have seen in death never looked more peaceful, more serene. What is your name?
Anne Arthur. I'm an instructor in English literature.
I'm sorry if the subject frightens you.
Sure no one holds you responsible, Professor.
Ah, the voice interested in vampires.
Yes. I plan a paper on Charles Croydon.
Charles Croydon is not generally known. Perhaps you would care to share your knowledge with the rest of the class.
Thank you. He was a 17th century English nobleman. It is said that he and his wife were vampires. They were hunted by the Church of England. They sought refuge in a small Puritan settlement in Massachusetts. Croydon was responsible for a series of gruesome murders near Salem. His wife was, in fact, burned as a vampire in 1846. But Croydon was never found.
Then if we are to accept the traditional legend that vampires can only be killed by the ritual of the wooden stake through the heart, Charles Croydon must still be alive today.
But why must he hide? A vampire with all the awesome, terrible power of Satan. All the black arts at his command. Why must he be forced to scurry like a frightened rat?
But as a vampire, what choice would he have? He would have to protect himself against the anger of righteous people.
You would think the man's personality would compel him to stand up, to terrify all the puny mortals around him, and not to hide in dark holes behind assumed names. Like Caleb Croft.
Who's Caleb Croft?
Even I know the answer to that one, Professor.
Well, let us hear it.
Caleb Croft was a murderer and a rapist. Accidentally electrocuted in the late 30s. His body mysteriously disappeared. And a police officer believing Croft to be a vampire was found near Croft's burial place, dead, drained of all his blood. These facts are all published in a book that links Caleb Croft and Charles Croydon.
What book is that?
Let me see. Oh, yes, it's called The Mysteries of New England. But there weren't many copies made.
You seem very interested in the Croft case, Professor.
Yes, I am, Mr.
Eastman. James Eastman.
Mr. Eastman, if you remain in the class long enough, you too may develop an interest, more than you bargained for. Miss Arthur.
Professor Lockwood, I just wanted to thank you for an excellent class this evening. You have a way with your students.
What way is that?
Compelling. Students often drift during my lectures.
They are fools. Come closer, Miss Arthur. Into the light. You did not come here to discuss your students, Miss Arthur. At first, you reminded me of my dead wife, Sarah. But then I went beyond that. No artist could capture such grace. Forgive me if I seem to be compelling. That quality is inspired by you.
Please, Professor Lockwood. I feel very helpless at this moment.
I'm sorry. Perhaps another time, another place.
I would just like to leave here now.
You're free to leave. No tricks. No goober dust.
My work's the most important thing to me.
I know. Good night, Miss Arthur.
That's all, sir. Closing time. You have to leave now.
I would like to take this book.
Oh, no, that's for reference only. I couldn't let that go out.
I drove all the way from the university hoping to find a copy. It's vital for a lecture I have planned. I'm Professor Lockwood.
Professor Lockwood?
Yes. May I borrow it for a day or two?
I have to close up now.
You have lovely hair, Mrs.
Fenwick. Miss Fenwick.
Miss Fenwick.
I was a photographer's model once. You'll have to leave now.
The book, Miss Fenwick?
The library has very strict rules. I can't make any exceptions.
You led me to believe that I could take it.
I did not.
All that business about your hair and your eyes.
Good night, Professor.
You were using me.
You have got to go.
Using me. Using me.
Thanks for coming.
Can I get you a drink?
No, thanks.
Dance then?
I'm not too good at that sort of thing.
All you have to do is move. You do move.
Yeah, I move. Look, I'd like to start by just sitting down.
Agreed. On one condition. You stand right here for 1 minute and let me do all the work. Get you.
There's nothing to get.
James is playing heavy tonight. It's all right. I'll go anywhere that you want. I want to show you something.
It's all right now. Anita is gone.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I think...
Just what do you think, Sam?
I think either you're a vampire or Anna's a marvelous actress and voice impressionist. And that the both of you staged this whole thing for the effect.
And just how effective would you say it was?
It was damn effective.
But you're not worried that I'm a real vampire? Or that I'm going to kill all of you in this room?
I'm not worried. Is anybody else worried?
I'm not afraid. I even left my crucifix upstairs.
You remember what you said about us getting together again? It's because we both want to.
Yes.
Well, I want to.
I've locked all the exits. I am Charles Croydon.
This is ridiculous. Come on, Letitia. Let's get the hell out of here. I don't know what the hell's going on here, Professor. One more step and I'll shoot. Stay here.
No!
son conceived in a grave. The night Caleb Croft rose from his grip. Yes. 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 Yes, and I'm going to destroy you. The world is finally ready, you Charles Croydon. Be
What's the matter?
Get away from me, Ed!
James!
Well, another episode in the can, guys. Hope you enjoyed Grave of the Vampire here at the Midnight Chillers on location here at the beautiful Arroyo Grande Cemetery. Trying to keep things local here in the community center. Cable Access TV, you guys, to keep it alive as long as possible. I love being part of the whole community TV station thing. You guys are great. I also want to give a shout out to the Vortex, Sluggo, Kids Executioner, and all the cool people out there. Thank you guys for allowing me to play my movies on your channel. And thank you, Samurai Community Television, for allowing me to play movies on your channel. And thank you everybody like YouTube and archive.org. Thank you all. I don't know what else I can say except tune in next time. We're going to play another great movie and we're going to have some fun here at the cemetery. Auf Wiedersehen.